Hello, my name is Theresa Heinrichs. Welcome to my studio here in Okanagan Landing. I've just been thinking today about the wonderful influence that art has had on my life and how I'd like to share that with you. You know, it's very interesting how art affects your life and how your art can affect the life of others. I'd like to tell you a little story about an art walk experience I had maybe about 10 years ago. My husband was going through a very serious illness and it was looking very, very dire. And I thought, you know, I have to paint my way out of this. So I did a very large painting, surprise, surprise, of birch trees and beautiful leaves and gorgeous water. And I really wanted to take myself out of this situation that we were in and paint in our way into a beautiful situation. And I finished the painting and it really did help me feel better. And I took it to Art Walk and I was had it on display and a lady came up to me from the States and she wanted to buy this painting and I said sure, and she said, could I pick it up at your studio? And I said absolutely. So she came out to my studio and she said to me, do you know why I bought this painting? And I said, no, I'm glad that you really liked it. And she said, I am a breast cancer survivor, and this painting says hope to me. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's why I painted it. So it just shows you that your emotions, your feelings, your life can appear on canvas and you don't even know it until somebody sees it, buys it, and has it for the very same reason. And she put that painting on the top of her car and drove it all the way back to the United States. You know, it's very interesting in the art world. There's certain things that speak to certain people. Some people can be inspired by harsh shapes. Some people can be inspired by running drips of paint and the feeling that gives. And I have to admit, for me, always the Impressionist artists have spoken to me. I'm not a sharp-edged type of person. I have a softer feel for things, and Impressionism is a soft vision of things that are happening. And two of the Impressionists that are really my kind of heroes are Claude Monet and Vincent van Gogh. And I was very fortunate in being able to travel to both their homes. Well, one home anyways, and one was a place where he worked. And Monet had a beautiful home at Giverny in Vernon in France. And it was just so exciting to go into his beautiful home, see all the influences that he had, and then going out to his incredible studio with these massive water lily paintings that were all done in the Impressionist style and had so much depth to them because of the texture, and I've always been influenced by texture and wanted to include texture in my work. And so that was a great inspiration. And then when I went to the Lingerie in Paris, where again the massive water lilies were on display in the Louvre, they spoke to me more than anything. And actually in the New York Museum of Modern Art, the Metropolitan, I was able to go this close to Monet's paintings and nobody stopped me. And so that was a really exciting moment to just check out his brush strokes and see what kind of depth he had achieved. And then the other hero, Vincent van Gogh, he had a moment before he died. I forget how many weeks he spent in a place called Auvers-sur-Oise in France. And so I went there and saw. It was the most incredible kind of inspiration of place and painting, because everywhere you went in Auvers-sur-Oise, there would be a scene, like a three-gabled church. And then in front of it, the town had put the painting that three-gabled church inspired, so that you could look at the place, look at the painting and see exactly how he had been influenced by the time and place and his texture. And it led you up to hay fields that he'd painted. In Auvers-sur-Oise, you can go see Van Gogh's grave and his brother Theo's grave beside it. There's another painting Van Gogh did of a room that it was I think it was around the time he cut off his ear or had his ear cut off. And that is kind of an iconic room painting, and you could go into that room that inspired that painting. So for an artist, that was like a dream come true, and I'm very fortunate to have had the travel to see my heroes and their inspiration and their artwork and their home. Thank you very much for visiting the studio. I hope you enjoyed the visit, and I hope that in your artwork or you're just observing things, that you think about the color and look for the richness of the color and enjoy it.